B, there we go, gotcha.
Perfect. Luckily we have such a diverse group here.
Back into
so-
open session on 8:45, 9:19.
We have the public hearing for Green Boys Landscaping, which is extended to November 4th, 2020. We have the public hearing for Infinity Energy. Am I opening this public hearing? And I need to,
Approval of expired site plan.
Anybody here for Infinity Energy?
Yeah, this is Green Boys.
let's
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I'm sorry. In accordance with,
Pass it around for everybody to sign, please.
so I'm sorry. So Green Boys Landscaping is looking for a reapproval of their expired site plan application, so they want to extend to 11/4/2020. I'm sorry, I
Oh,
read that the wrong
okay,
way.
okay,
So,
all right.
do we have?
Who's here for Green Boys? Anybody?
No, they just have a written extension, like a request.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the
Extension.
extension to 11/4/2020 for Green Boys Landscaping.
And we have a second, all in favor?
Aye.
So we're opening the public hearing for Infinity Energy.
Hold on, that's not that one.
Infinity Way Division, subdivision?
Sorry. In accordance with sections MGL, Chapter 41, Section 81-P, and the Charlton Planning Board Subdivision Regulations, Section 3.12, the Planning Board will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, September 18th, 2019, in the Planning Board office in the George C. McKinstry Building, 37 Main Street, Charlton, Mass, on the application of Infinity Solar Services, 2885 Route 9, Howell, New Jersey, 07731, requesting approval of a definitive subdivision plan. The proposed subdivision consists of one lot in a roadway area with a cul-de-sac, 120 feet in length. The purpose of the plan is to access and frontage for a future solar project. The applicant has requested several of the board's regulations. The proposed subdivision is located at 75 Brookfield Road, Charlton, Mass, to create access in the front lot for a future solar project. The property contains approximately 24.76 acres. The property ID is Assessors Map 27, Block A, Parcel 1, and is zoned agricultural R40.
Here's a plan there, I have a copy here for the board.
So this is, through the chair, this is the same plan that we looked at previously?
Yeah,
It's
so
the definitive plan.
this is.
Okay, so this is the definitive subdivision
So I have
plan.
I have a little issue with this particular subdivision plan. So, do we have that timeline? So I can take a. So we were lucky enough to run this by our we had Mark
Counsel.
Borowski in here for another reason, so we used his time and some free land consulting. And so we can share, we came up with a little timeline to help us understand what was going on in the public. So on January 25th, 2018, we received the application for the solar array. On April 4th, they received the approval from the planning board for the solar array. On May 21st, the solar moratorium took place at town meeting. On February 21st, 2019, the application for the preliminary subdivision was submitted. In April 2019, the preliminary subdivision was approved by the planning board. So the preliminary was approved during the solar moratorium, so there was no freeze put on the land according to the attorney that just walked out of here. So therefore, the issue is that any new site plan has to be in compliance with the new solar regulations that went to town at the new town meeting, which was the last May's meeting. So we can't accept,
We
so going
we
to
could
the
accept the subdivision
It just
plan,
has to be up to
So-
the
but
new
they will
standards.
require a new site plan for
yeah,
the
so
solar.
we can go through this review process, but there is no freeze, so we'll technically have to go back and a new site plan will have to be submitted based on the new regulations. And that, again, we just had Mark Borowski, we explained the dates and the facts, and that was in accordance with him.
Madam Chair, Todd Broder, the attorney for the project from Fletcher Tilton. You could certainly take that position. I would disagree with the position, and I can explain to you why. But really, what we're here for is our subdivision plan. So whether it gets us to a zone freeze or not, we still want to talk about the definitive subdivision plan.
Which is fine.
And the various waivers that Jay has requested with the application. So from that perspective, we'd like to move forward with the subdivision plan. Just to go back though to the zone freeze issue. As you know, the town voted in a building permit moratorium, but didn't otherwise amend the zoning bylaw provisions dealing with solar until this town meeting in when was it? Sorry, your recent town meeting, which actually ended up in June, the second night or the third night of the process. And we did file the preliminary before the town meeting, and in my mind, that's all we needed to do in order to keep the dimensional provisions and the setback provisions, et cetera, alive that were in place at the time when we filed the preliminary plan. Chapter 48, Section 6, that's what it talks about. I can't quote you the language, but those provisions that were in place when we filed the preliminary. The building permit moratorium issue is a separate issue. I mean, you weren't issuing building permits for projects in that time frame, but that had nothing to do with modification of the setbacks or the other dimensional issues, which we would really kind of take issue with on a go-forward basis if we had to comply with the new zoning bylaw. So that's sort of my brief synopsis.
Okay, so I'll ask Mark to write up in lawyer language, I need to kind of go through the approval process, but I will have it put in writing and we'll work from there, but in the meantime, we'll review this subdivision and we'll backtrack on that.
Okay, I just wanted you to know my position on it.
Right. I mean, I think that you guys missed the cutoff. A bunch of all we were doing was approving those the preliminary subdivisions, like a huge amount before the moratorium, before the town meeting, because everybody knew that was the rule. If I'm interpreting or if Mark Borowski is interpreting wrong, then that's something that we'll worry about later. But in the meantime, let's get through this and
Thank you.
go ahead.
All right, Jason DuBois from DC Engineering Survey. Project is 75 Brookfield Road. Applicant is Infinity Energy. We did file a preliminary subdivision back in February, and it was approved in April. I have the notes right here. So we did file this last month, definitive subdivision. We did make a slight change to the roadway. We were proposing to come in. So on the preliminary, we were coming in at this entrance here, and it kind of put the cul-de-sac and everything underneath the overhead lines right through the power line easement. So we shifted it down so that it's away from the easement, still the same length, about 150 feet total, with two lots. Lot 2 is about 29 acres, and lot 2 is 1.78 acres, both over the zoning requirement. And we are asking for multiple waivers, gravel driveway, the 44-foot turnaround radius versus 50, I believe it is. It's very similar to the other definitive subdivisions that we've done for these solar projects. Mass Pike right through here, Brookfield Road. The entrance is right in this section here, so we were able to move it quite a ways away from that overhead easement, which I know the board had
So Jason, another chart on the inside corner, what are the sight lines for that driveway?
The site distance in each direction, we haven't measured that for this.
Kind of a tight corner there.
Yeah, there's a
Under
curve, yeah.
convention.
Yeah. Yeah, I assume it's
After that.
plenty this way, it might be a little bit tight looking, looking in this direction here. I don't know, has there been any comments from Graves on this yet, or?
Mike Andrade said he has not received this plan. I spoke to him this afternoon, because I was questioning, I hadn't received a report from him, he said I never got the plan.
Uh,
There's no Graves comments?
No.
Alright, so then should we just continue this?
I think you should
and-
continue until Graves Engineering has a chance to respond
Do
to
we have
the
any-
plan.
I think we should take comments from the public.
Okay,
Or
so-
to do that, sure.
So, do we have any,
We
first
could-
of all,
we
since
could
we
do
don't
one.
have any comments to go through,
Yeah.
do we have any board comments that we
I mean,
want?
that was just, I mean, one of my questions was, it's awful close to that corner, and
Right.
there was a bridge there, and there's some site issues there, I'm sure.
So we wanna get a
As
better.
far as the rest of the site plan, I mean, it's,
standard.
is the turnaround enough? Well, it's, I guess any fire department access would be in the same thing. That changes the site plan a little bit too, I would assume,
Did any other fire department, anybody else?
Nobody else
kinda
has this-
Highway,
this-
anybody else
Somebody
chime
has
in?
public
I mean,
comment.
I don't think we can make a decision tonight,
Yeah.
certainly not, but we can take some comments from the public and,
I agree.
but remember, it is limited to the subdivision plan and not the site plan of the solar, so.
Anybody else in the board have any questions, and we'll open it up to the audience for any questions, so we have on record, so we can get any questions answered in the meantime.
So just a quick question on the subdivision plan as far as Brian Blackwell, Amber Road. As far as that line of sight goes to the right, if that's gonna be an access road for heavy equipment coming in for solar at some point, I'd be even more concerned about that line of sight, just if you have massive trucks coming in or small residential road. So I think that line of sight to the right would be my only concern. The big trucks.
Madam Chair, I can try to answer that. This is a plan proposed for a definitive subdivision, but it doesn't really impact the site plan. So what you saw in the site plan was an access further up Brookfield Road, and that would be, what the site plan is as approved would be where that access would be for those trucks.
Okay, 'cause I think it started with, this would also be the access road for the solar project for future solar. This was subdivision as well as frontage and road access for solar. So if that's the road access for solar, I would have concerns with big trucks coming around that corner.
It's not.
It's always, the subdivision is always is the perceptual fake, but it could always happen. Always in the back of your mind that technically they could build as is, so, any other questions, comments?
Well, my name's Ted Hawley, I live at 79 Brookfield Road, and I'm a professional truck driver, and anytime you tighten up any corner of any type, especially for a tractor trailer, and these are probably, a lot of this stuff's gonna probably coming in on flatbeds, so it's gonna mean that the truck is not gonna be able to go on the road. It's gonna drag on the ground rather than on their paved or gravel road. Sounds to me like the radius is gonna be too tight.
Is he talking about for the solar project?
Well, the cul-de-sac that you're putting in,
Yep.
is that gonna be, allow a tractor trailer enough time? If it's a cul-de-sac and you're making a turn, the trailer tires aren't gonna necessarily, with that type of a radius, aren't gonna be
I don't
on the
think they're
road
ever-
that you're making.
I don't think they're ever expecting to get a tractor trailer up in that cul-de-sac. I think it's just there
Oh.
for plan purposes,
Well, I didn't know
subdivision.
how they were gonna make their deliveries of these solar
Yeah,
panels.
so this,
Yeah, the
this
site,
particular.
the site, yeah.
This particular plan is, the only reason that it's being done, really, is to sort of freeze the zoning and they, you can combine lots and stuff like that to, they're not typically used in this application to be built.
Well, it's decoration on a cake, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much, it's, sure.
Is this
The site plan would be
potentially
different.
public-
The site
I
plan is
think the
exactly.
confusion is the lead, the
Get
Waters
turned
House
over
has
to
said
the
this would be
town?
the
This is
access
gonna be
road
a-
as well.
a
That's for
solar
frontage and
sub-
access.
Yeah.
for future
This is gonna be a
solar.
solar
So that's
farm.
what
I'm not sure
There'll
what that
never be
is,
that
I'm not sure if that
cul-de-sac in
is is that,
The
that's
access
not
to
what
the-
was on the submitted site plan.
Yeah, no,
That's,
that's something
it was
that would be
completely
coming in
different.
here still.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you for clarifying.
I know
The
it's hard-
original road,
it's hard
the
when
road can
you're
go
not used
under
to
the
it,
power
but-
lines, you can't build a cul-de-sac for a subdivision under power lines, so that's why they had to change the plans.
So, do we have any other questions or,
I make a motion, we continue the public hearing until October, what's October 2nd look like? Or 16th? Second building up, second filling up quickly, or?
Second is building up, but.
So can we do this
should
to
be
the
all right.
16th?
You still good for
Does
the
that work
second?
for
are you guys happy with
Why don't you
second?
draft, huh?
the second?
Is that gonna give Mike enough time to review it so we have notes?
That's a good question.
Yeah,
He
can we
hasn't
ma-
seen it at all yet.
Yeah, is Mike gonna be able to do it too?
Why don't we just make it the 16th?
Mike is the 16th.
Yeah.
Wait, the 16th, give Mike an opportunity.
And then it'll give us
Mhm.
a chance to research this legal stuff too.
Yep,
That might-
yep.
And it'll also, it'll give Mike, and then we'll actually be able to get something done. So,
Yeah, I mean, we've got a lot to cover in that meeting anyways, we've got, you know,
so it's October
16th.
16th, so we have a motion to continue to October 16th, we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
That's continued to October 16th.
Thank you.
sorry that took so long, folks.
If we could give I think we need to reach out and ask permission to ask Mark to put in writing his opinion,
Give him the
about
timeline
the
and
lot, let's give him the
everything.
timeline and give him, and whatever else he needs and see if he can do that, but I think we need to.
Make a legal determination.
Right.
We
Right, to
need
make
to
a legal-
ask.
Does that
I
go,
think we-
does that go through Mark, or does that?
I think we need to ask permission to have Mark make that determination.
Okay.
So, do you wanna
Permission
send
from-
David an email, would you prefer me to do it, just asking him, we have a question on a zoning question about a freeze, and it should be a quick, it shouldn't be very expensive, but to prevent any lawsuits, to prevent any issues, and I think spending the $350 for the hour, hopefully not too much more than that, to be able to do this in writing might be worth it instead of going through lawsuits after.
Mhm.
Alright, so,
I think he'd be the right person to make that decision, Mark.
yeah, I think we should,
I'd be happy to contact David and ask him.
We just need permission to
we just
talk
wanna
to
make
Mark.
sure, and just explain that, let's just get it in writing from Mark and
Just to make sure that we're doing
Yes.
something.
Mhm.
we're doing right, we wanna prevent we wanna prevent lawsuits.
Want something in writing for the records.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Hammond Woods, definitive subdivision field completion discussion, I know that
Yeah, I've been working with, Mr. Reardon has requested an inspection of the site, which is gonna be done by myself, Mike Andre, and also Jerry Foster.
Mike
the
wasn't
highway
able to go out there today.
No, he
Was
could
it?
not make it, so,
So next week?
yeah, next week, the three of us are going up there to inspect it because, Mr. Reardon, I believe he thinks he's ready, but there's a number of issues that we wanna check to make sure. We feel there's a number of issues that haven't been addressed yet, so, rather
And
than
he was
have.
made aware of it at our last
that-
meeting.
Yes,
very
and
much.
and I had spoken to him, and he knew about it and everything, and he didn't come in, was it Monday? He asked for the inspections, which, we couldn't get together with everybody in time to do by today, so.
By going up there, it doesn't seem as though things were
I was there on Monday and
compliance.
there's a lot of room for improvement.
So let's get Mike's opinion on it and get it in writing
And Jerry wants to be part of it because
Absolutely.
ultimately the
Yeah.
town ends up taking over the road and
Absolutely.
everything,
That's
so.
fabulous.
And we'll hear back next meeting?
Yes.
So we'll put it on
We'll
the
have a
agenda.
report for the next meeting, yep.
Put it on the agenda on the second, let's get that over with. We have a continued public hearing for Otis Land Management.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, it looks like we're continuing that to October 2nd.
Correct.
Um,
They're not ready for this
ready?
meeting.
Do we vote that?
Yeah, you should vote to continue it to the next
Do we have
meeting.
a motion to continue?
Make a motion to continue the Otis Land Management Four Sturbridge Road Self-Service Facility Plan to October 2nd.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The next one is actually 299 Sturbridge Road. They actually gave me they just met with Mass DOT. Mass DOT agreed with everything the planning board said, so they have to amend their plans.
Okay.
So that just happened today.
That
So
was-
they are
So they would like us
Okay.
also to
Oh,
continue
yes, good,
to
good,
October
okay.
October
2nd.
2nd.
We
Yep.
have a motion to continue the meeting. Alicia, a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
So can,
Continue to October 2nd.
Charlton Realty to October 2nd.
correct.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have, do we have anybody waiting for anything that, because we're totally off
A&R.
schedule.
We have the.
Okay, we'll go through the A&Rs. I didn't know if there's anything.
We have
can-
one of the first A&R is the water and sewer commission, they're waiting, and then
okay.
the other gentleman is actually waiting for, if you wanna jump around a little bit, he's
Yep.
waiting for,
Yeah.
Turner Road Solar Site.
Yeah,
It's
we're
on the
totally
second
off
page.
schedule, so let's just make anybody
That's
who
fine,
stays
that's
done.
fine.
Do the A&R real quick.
Well, do you want to skip the A&R and just do the turnover?
No, because we were waiting for an A&R.
Oh, we skipped it, oh, okay. Okay. He can wait.
I can. I'm used to late night.
He has waited.
Peter likes to be in this building, really late.
Well, give you time to take a nap so you can finish
Yeah.
for
It's on the clock.
We're hoping to get funding for cushions on our seats. They're like really uncomfortable
You
too.
don't want us to be comfortable.
I heard the selectmen are getting new seats and we're getting their old ones.
Oh,
They
really?
have the horrible seats ever in there.
This
The
is,
same as these.
Are they the same?
Yeah,
way?
they're the same
The Water
as
and
these.
Sewer
worse than
Commission
ours.
has submitted a A&R plan where they're creating two new lots. One lot has some wells for the towns on it over here, and then there's remaining land, second parcel, that will be, that second parcel is going to be purchased by a budding property owner.
No, the property owner is gonna continue to own it.
Oh,
So it's a
yeah.
it's about a 34 acre parcel. We're gonna purchase approximately 25 acres, and the remaining 7 will stay with the current owner.
Okay, so this is,
That's a piece of property that we've
Right.
also bought.
okay,
Um,
and then,
So they're, yeah, this lot.
Lot B is what we're gonna purchase, correct? And Lot A will, the remaining land will stay with the current owner.
Is the remaining land buildable?
No, it doesn't have frontage. It's a landlocked piece in its entirety.
And then there's one other?
Because I think he owns one of these lots,
oh,
but it's separate. He's keeping
oh,
it
and then
They make
separate.
it
it gives them-
waterfront?
It gives them all the
It's
water.
not what
Well, it's
it is
reservoir.
waterfront,
Yeah, that's a nice piece of
They
land
wanna
deep.
hold on to it.
but it does. The building, I believe the development rights have been purchased from the Army Corps because it has the flood mitigation zone on it, the flood buffer zone.
Who owns that? Who owns it?
Mr. and Mrs. Phillips,
And the hiking trail goes
It's a
through there.
different lot, I think.
down by the
Does
water.
this have to say non-buildable on it?
Well, it says
It does.
remaining land, you can use the terminology remaining land, which is, makes it,
We got into a thing about
Essentially the
that
same
with
thing.
somebody else.
Doesn't it have to say non-buildable on it?
It should
But
say.
there's no Lot B says non-buildable, doesn't it? The new lot that's being created.
It says not a separate,
Yeah, not a separate building
not
lot.
a
And
separate building lot.
the other lot that's now formerly owned by the same, now formerly owned by the guy that has the frontage, that they have a contiguous lot line, so it's,
Oh, it's this one.
yeah.
So we can go back and on that.
Are we comfortable with it not saying
I mean, he
non-buildable
can't build
lot?
on it anyway, cause he's on the water on one side and he's landlocked on the other.
But he could
so-
buy a lot over here and use that as part of his.
Didn't that help, did somebody, I
Yes.
thought it was,
Yes.
I was sitting at.
Yeah.
Hey, we were told that as long as you can get
It's
there,
on
even if it's
fun.
by kayak,
Yeah.
you can.
Yeah.
Well, I think I
Enjoyed
was
it. This
sitting
is-
through a
this is-
ZBA hearing that had happened,
Yes.
and it ends up being an issue, so do we need it to say not available
It's
buildable lot
not,
on it or not?
again, the
I
Army
know.
Corps already has that restriction on there. I mean, you guys can request it.
Cause that was
It
already
is Army
existing
Corps
lot,
land,
they're
so-
just reducing the
Well,
size of the
The
it's-
Army
existing
Corps has
lot.
rights to the property.
Yeah, it was already an existing lot, they're reducing the size of the existing lot. The
Yeah, we're not
town's
getting
buying
rid
a
of
larger
I'm
portion.
assuming if they start digging a hole over there, the Army Corps of Engineers is gonna speak up.
I think so.
Loudly.
I'd like to make a motion we approve the A&R.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, guys.
So we can sign this up, right?
Yep.
I'll stop.
So one
Do I?
Mylar and
the registry?
one paper.
Swimmingly.
It's a secret.
Yeah, we're all friends.
You're doing great.
We haven't decided yet.
Yeah.
We
Signed
we
back
did-
before?
Oh, yeah. Did they?
Yeah, oh, the
No,
Mylar,
wait.
yeah.
Jane, I'll pick it up tomorrow. So I have to ask Cosgrove what we need to do with it. So I don't wanna take it and lose it. I want you guys.
Okay.
Be responsible for it.
Kinda have
Thank
to.
you.
You wanna be
Have a
here
good
with all
night.
this fun? Good night.
Good night.
We should find out what project he's here for.
Yeah, we know.
Turner Road.
Gentleman's here for Turner Road, so,
Still on
it's on page
I
2.
think he did pretty well, good job proving himself.
I already promised we would move you up.
Thank you, appreciate it.
You're being moved right now.
I mean, you were scheduled for 7:50, so, we're, it's
Yeah.
9:15, so you're not really being moved up too much, but,
It's all right.
You had nothing better to do.
hopefully you
than
get
that.
paid by the hour, so.
Well, I'll discuss everything with you guys.
Sorry, gotta get this done and over.
I had everything in order, that didn't work out. Oh, you brought your plans? Oh,
Yeah, I brought my
okay.
plans.
Is that one
What page
or-
is it on the plan?
What are they doing?
So there's this page.
It's one packet.
It's a big packet.
It's one packet.
It's all the same stuff though, isn't it?
I don't know,
It's
I
all the
just,
same.
No, it's all the same.
It was just a big,
Yeah.
it is? Oh, all right, it was a big packet.
Yeah, that's one of the items is the turnaround.
Oh, right,
Like
right.
four of them at home already.
That's all set.
So one of them is the
Okay.
turnaround, the fire truck area, and then the landscape is gonna be following.
Felicia, how was your trip to Alaska?
It was amazing.
No, since then, it was good.
Oh, it was absolutely gorgeous.
What,
It was
what boat did you go on and?
Norwegian Bliss, and it was a 7-day cruise. It was the newest and biggest.
Yes.
And the cruise was supposed to be $2,400 a person, got a last minute deal for $640. It was outside,
Yeah, that's awesome.
outside
Outside,
balcony.
you had a
Oh,
veranda?
come on.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was awesome.
So it's better to go to Alaska, cause I
Yes.
think I'm going next summer, but I don't know when I'm gonna
Last
book it.
minute's the way to
Last
go.
minute?
Yeah.
Maybe
The
try
woman,
that.
is that out of
As long as you don't
Boston?
mind where you're
Out
going.
of Seattle.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Here,
Seattle.
pass this out for all,
where'd it
this
go?
is,
This is just, this
So
is just
do you go
those
from
landscape
Seattle
right?
to
Yes.
Anchorage
They
and
have
back?
one?
No, we went to
Issue with
Seattle,
cul-de-sac,
and
and
then we
then the
went
rest is,
to,
landscape.
a whole bunch, 5 different stops.
Oh, this is
And
the
you
whole
ended-
packet that I'm
ended-
looking at?
Ended in
It's-
Seattle,
it's-
And it-
too.
okay, that's
It's
fine.
their
All the way up
request
and
and
then
then,
Exactly.
I'd rather
Graves
do the trip
Engineering
All right,
report on the
so
site.
from
this is
Anchorage
just
down,
some,
and then hit Denali before or something like that.
This
Hit
was
the-
inside out the package.
this is just
Sorry.
field adjustments on the Turner Road solar site. They're just doing some, it looks like some minor kind of field adjustments, so, I don't know if, do you wanna just present so we don't have to read all
Talk a little
this?
bit.
So, my name is Pedro Rodriguez, I'm with Civil Solar. We are the property owners, we sold the solar array to Madison, but we were still in charge of the civil construction. And there were some minor field changes that were done during the construction. I had, some of them like the turnarounds and the fire truck pull-up areas. And some, those changes were discussed with the fire department at that time. And the reason was that the turnarounds were designed to be 80 feet radius, and that's because this plan was approved in 2015. And back then, the fire department was planning to drive a fire truck up there in case of an emergency.
Mhm.
That is no longer the case. So that's why the fire trucks were built 50 feet radius. And the fire truck pull-up areas weren't built either because they were not necessary. And I run that item by Graves, and he said that he was okay with it as long as the fire department was okay with it.
Mhm.
So The chief, Dennis Carlson, did an inspection on the property. We met it last Friday, I believe. And he's just, confirming in writing that the turnarounds were fine.
So this is from Captain Dennis Carlson. Pedro, the turnarounds are sufficient as for the areas where we had discussion putting in an area for 2 trucks to be side by side are no longer required. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that was all, and then Greg said that he was okay with it as long as the fire department was okay with it too.
With that for the record, we can have this.
No, yeah.
Oh, thank you.
I have it.
Do we have anything in writing from Graves?
Yes,
Yeah,
so,
do the
On the
pass.
second-
second page.
Yep.
Thank you.
So the itemized items were what he pointed out in the first inspection in January, and then the bold items were his comments from his last inspection in August 21st. Some of those items were done, and some of the other ones are the ones that he discussed that I needed to provide written confirmation. The other item is number 9. There was a
Next page, right?
Oh no, not yet. This culvert. There was this culvert right here. There was a pipe that was originally designed to bring the water from this area of the road to this basin. When I walked the side with Graves originally in January, same as a couple of weeks ago, we kind of both agreed that this culvert was not necessary to do this, and he said he was okay with it as long as we prepare a drainage report confirming that the culvert was necessary and there was no building that affected drainage calculations, and that's what we did. It was provided to Graves Engineering too.
Do you have a letter from this abutter stating they do not wish the tree to be removed?
Not that one yet, but I did meet with the neighbor, so that was the other points that I was gonna go after.
So number 10 and 11.
Yeah. So number 10 is these 2 neighbors in the next page. So the Sullivans and the Fields. Yeah, we were originally designed to plant these trees over here, and I did meet them again 2 weeks ago, and even though that we didn't think it was necessary, I stood in the back of his property and I noticed that you could see some of the rays, and I just told them that we were gonna plant the trees anyway. So this is an email that I got from Mrs. Sullivan, that responded to my email saying, hey, it was nice meeting you. Following my conversation, we're gonna go ahead and plant the trees as I discussed.
Yes, I so appreciate you taking the time to contact me. We enjoyed meeting you as well, and so appreciated your continued efforts to keep me informed. So It just says we will be planting the trees behind our house.
Was that Sullivan or was that Fields?
That's
This
Sullivan.
is Sullivan.
Okay, what about?
Sandra
okay.
Sullivan.
Fields.
Okay, so since you're doing it anyways.
Yeah,
that's-
Fields
Yeah.
is over here.
Phil, I
Yeah.
still have not received his email confirmation. I did meet him the day after I met Sullivan. He didn't think it was necessary to plant the trees. He didn't think it was necessary either to remove the tree because we no longer have a tree clearing equipment there anymore. But what I did tell him, if he still wants to cut a tree, discuss it with his family, and if he finds a contractor that he trusts, we'll cover the cost. So he was gonna get back to me. That's why I haven't gotten it ready. He hasn't decided yet. But the other thing that I wanted to discuss with the planning board is, and I discussed it with Graves too, is in the number 14. This lower gate right here. When we purchased the property, it was vacant land and there was an old farm gate. It was in very poor condition. And back then we had the idea of rebuilding that gate. But after working with Graves, we didn't think it was necessary to have 2 gates, and also the fire department didn't think having 2 gates in the property was needed for any security reasons. So I'm just asking the board to remove the condition of building that gate. There's a gate in here already with a Knox box and all the signage required.
Is it a deal, what if, you know, teenagers or whoever wanna drive down there or to dump trash, to dump old furniture, old computers, TVs and stuff, is that gonna be an issue?
Well,
Because that's gonna be, this is your, well, whose property is that?
Yes,
What
mine.
happens is people, teenagers that have too much time on their hands, or, they have a place to kind of pull in where nobody can see them, that's an issue, or the other big thing in town is the dumping of trash. People have a couch, TV, refrigerator that they don't wanna dump, and I think it might be a liability to have that happen. So that's the issue of not having it, and I understand the fire department, so what do you guys think about,
And the fence,
It's a-
there's no fencing out there,
Yeah,
is
so
that correct?
that's what I was gonna add. We have-
originally there was gonna be, right?
Yeah, we have no problem putting the gate if we have to. That we have no issue. But the gate is almost, I think it's 35 feet, almost 40 feet from the ground, and there's no fence around it. So like the point was, like, if somebody really wanted to get to the side,
Right.
they just drive around.
Oh,
So-
yeah.
So you have a
I mean-
gate there, but.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, like I wanna
So
go
Like a
down.
standalone gate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I.
Yeah.
Well, looks like we can't get up there.
Yeah, like, well, because, I mean,
Exactly. That's
well,
what I was-
the smartest kids aren't going up there because, right? I mean, you might be,
That'll stop the ATVs, alright, they would never think to go around the gate.
I don't have a problem with not having it.
The only-
whatever.
In these
If
circumstances,
Graves
correct.
didn't- If Graves didn't have a problem,
I mean, this area, yes, it could happen, there's always gonna be somebody that tries, but this is actually gonna be pretty cleared up to the gate area.
Yeah.
You know, the vegetation, everything's gonna be
Okay.
cleared back,
Gates
so.
don't stop the ATVs anyway.
Yeah, I mean, if they
Right.
wanna go back there, they're gonna go
They're-
back there
exactly.
regardless, but it's gonna make it a little difficult.
Or horses.
Or horses, that's,
Sure.
I know nothing about that.
That was all.
I think the plan looks good, they've addressed all the major issues.
So what do we need to do with this?
this is a good fancy road.
The whole basis for having them come here is neither Mike or I felt that it was a little, especially with eliminating of the vegetation and everything, too much to be just a field change. I'd rather have it
A
come
revote?
before the board to vote on the changes as, you know, shown on their plan and in their submitted report, just so that the board's aware of the changes that have been made there, because it was a little bit more than we were comfortable with doing it as field changes.
So you think we should re-vote it with the changes to
Right,
accept?
based on the, you know, the amended report
Right.
dated September 3rd, 2019.
I would make a motion that we accept the new plan with the revisions, as delivered tonight.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
I
Mike,
Aye.
just
Unanimous.
for the make sure we're clear. We haven't submitted any revised plan. That plan is saying that was approved. They just think changes not in the report.
That's okay. We have the, we use these as an
Yeah.
attachment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
For the
This will be,
modification.
was the plan.
Yep.
Unless you wanna do
Yeah,
another,
that's
do you
Then-
wanna do
then-
another set of
No,
plans?
no, no, just wanna make
Sure.
sure.
So
No,
you,
just wanted to make sure that.
number
No.
11 is still open though, right? Because you haven't heard back from
Yeah,
from
no,
Mr. Fields yet.
Yeah, he's still thinking about it.
Okay, that's
He
not
might
part
let
of
me
this.
know with a
Okay.
quote or
Well,
no
if we
with
do get something from the neighbor saying, yes, I want the tree removed or whatever, then, I mean, that's,
We have it on.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's, I think that could be done
Just forward it to
minor
us.
as a field change
Okay.
in that case, 'cause it's just one item.
And the same thing, when we come here for the closeout, we'll bring the same written
Sure.
information. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that's fine because they have,
Yeah, well, I mean, they're now putting the plantings in that they were gonna ask for
Yeah,
before. We have
yeah.
the report from the fire chief
yeah,
and
the big,
eliminating a gate, you know,
Yeah.
is really a
Yep.
big deal.
The fire department said they're
I'm
okay with
surprised
it.
it even came to us, the field adjustments. But, yeah, but it's good, it looks good, no, I think it's good. Moving on. Moving on.
We have, actually, if you wanna go back to the A and Rs?
Yeah. Go back.
Is that in there?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, everybody got that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
Jeez, yeah. Thank you though.
Oh, this
trees.
is, this
Yes.
big packet?
Yeah.
The next one was,
It's all the same.
requests on, Cove Road, is that the next one that's listed?
Yeah, the one.
Oh, they're all the same?
Yeah.
This one, actually, all they're doing is, they have one large lot and they're basically cutting it in half, more or less. One part of it has its leg, but it's two conforming lots.
Oh. Are they trying to sell off a parcel?
Yeah, the house is on this parcel and they're creating a separate parcel so that they can sell it, you know, for.
But it's
building.
completely
So
conforming?
this is 25
Yeah.
feet, so that's, it's not, this isn't like a full.
That's not a
full-size
buildable
lot.
portion of
No,
it, but
no.
that's,
Not.
yeah.
Originally, they were selling that to an abutter, but the abutter backed out at the last second, so they ended up just keeping it.
You can't even
as
put a
their
solar farm on
property.
that.
A little mini one. No, we can't.
Put that little marijuana
I say we do it.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
I make a motion. Do we need to make a motion on it?
Yeah.
I make a motion to accept the plan as is.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Sign away, Miss Patsy.
Actually, after all that.
She signed it, so it's about an inside passage or outside passage? What
It
is
was
the
both.
inside, was it, you liked it
It
both?
was both.
It was different?
It was, the coolest part was Glacier Bay. It was so serene.
But that's part of the inside passage. Okay.
They actually parked inside Glacier
Did
Bay for a
do a little spin around. Yeah,
That was
heard
so cool.
Heard that. Yep. So
My first
everybody-
ever cruise.
Was it?
It was my son and I.
See, I've been on 2 in my life. I'm not like a big cruise fan.
I don't know that I would go again. I mean, I got the
But for
incredible
Alaska,
deal.
you kinda have to.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
That's, the only- that's the
And to
next
get
one.
it that cheap, I mean, that was the big thing.
That's
And
a
we
good
got to
deal.
see Seattle for
I
a
heard
couple
the
days.
Alaska cruise is the cool one to go
Phenomenal.
on.
Yeah, that's
We
the
went
only
like
cruise I
years
do
and years
know.
ago, my husband and I got one for $250. It was like $3,000. We went the day before we
Yeah,
moved
it's
down
cheaper
to
than a
Alaska.
hotel room
Yes.
and dinner for the week.
Yes, it
Wow.
really.
You know,
Yeah.
you can't eat
You
out for a
it
week
was
for that
in,
price.
It was a week
Yeah.
in Honduras and Belize. It was
That's
the whole.
awesome.
I mean, it was so.
But the airfare was,
It wasn't as bad as I was anticipating. I will say I could have gotten a room for $250 if I did inside, no window. But for $600 a person, I mean, I wanted a balcony. I like to sit
yeah.
outside and
And that was the
read.
other
I
thing,
miss
for
it.
Alaska,
Yeah.
you kinda need a balcony.
Well, that was my thought. Is there's nothing better
Wanna see
than
what-
wake up, have your coffee, and look outside
Yeah.
and be there. Yeah. And I love to read at night and just look at everything. And yeah. It was fun.
The next A&R that we actually have, we were talking about the remaining land and everything. I had an issue with it because there was gonna be a non-buildable lot left out over and they did not mark it. And they were supposed to bring in a revised plan showing that additional lot is non-buildable. He went on vacation this week, I didn't get the revised plan, so I think we should just hold off.
Yes.
So we're on the next agenda. Let's
Yes.
do it the right way. So.
Yeah.
We have the essential map.
Jane?
Oh,
No.
Jane,
We've got a
Jane,
couple of some.
that's from last
So we did the other A&Rs. We
Yes,
did.
because that's what I was
We
going to
did
accuse
some.
myself of.
We did both of those.
Oh, okay.
We did the water sewer one. We did, and that was the last one. So we went with both of those
Okay.
A&Rs.
Okay, so.
This is,
Those are very
Is
interesting.
it,
So we have the CMR PC. So Jean has always been our
Yes.
delegate. So
I am listed as a delegate, although I've only been to one meeting. I'm happy to step off if someone else wants to. so-
were you the delegate for EDC maybe?
Yes, probably. That would make more sense. Yes, yeah.
So do you want to just?
So I'll stay with EDC because I don't.
Do you
need
want to attend? I mean, I think that eventually it seems as though EDC is very like it needs to be restructured, and I
Yes.
think the plan is to restructure EDC at some point. So
At some point, I'm sure when the new town plan, when we have someone new at the helm, I'm
They'll
sure
figure
they
out
will want to
things.
do their thing. Yes.
And you know we've always been part, so you know we were talking about having the joint,
Yes,
going back
absolutely.
to the old way because it made sense for the way projects get brought in, but that's for future
Exactly.
discussion. So this board needs to vote, so we need to nominate someone to do this, and it's
I
always
nominate
been,
Jean Vincent.
would you like to
Yeah.
continue? She
I'm on a
actually-
couple of their boards,
She
so
actually
it's
goes
not-
to things and attends all the time.
Oh, that's always good.
What do they have their meetings? Is it at night?
It's quarterly, I believe it, yeah.
Yeah, usually they're quarterly, it's either the second or third Thursday at night.
Yeah, like 6:30, I think.
Well, now they're meeting at different places because they
They're not
moved.
in the train station anymore.
Oh,
No,
oh, that's right.
They
The
moved
train station takes
and
Because cannabis took over.
Yeah.
when they have meetings, they have to rent out the room in the building and it's a little pricey, so they go out. We had one up here at Masonic one time.
Oh.
Oh,
We were just
really?
over at
Southborough, right? You were in Southborough? last time?
Southborough.
But,
Southborough.
so those meetings, so I know we have a delegate, but we can attend, if you,
Yeah.
like, we could go and attend if there was an interesting subject, and if you ever look at some of the mailings and some of the emails, 'cause I don't know if you guys are on the email list, but you can get on their
Yes.
email
I'm not,
list
yeah,
easily.
I'd like to.
They
there's
always
some-
have things.
There's always
I'll forward it to you
interesting,
the next time I
Okay.
get one.
Okay.
there's always, you can just get on their mailing list, in fact, you can go right to their website and get on their
Okay,
mailing
all
list.
right, I'll do that.
But as planning board members, they actually, you actually get points for attending things.
We
You
we
get-
get credit for hours.
You get credit
Yes.
for hours, for
Yes.
attendance, for training, like it gives you some
And you
sort
can
of.
cash those in for.
That explains what.
Mapping, stuff like that.
I'm doing something
The
this
town-
weekend
the
that said
town
at Oxford
earns
Town
points.
Hall,
Okay,
that must
okay,
explain
okay.
why
Like
it's
the town-
there versus
That's
up
good,
at
it's
their
for-
It's pretty cool, right?
It is, okay.
place
So
in
the town
Worcester.
earns
Right,
stuff.
'Cause they
we
get
were
a-
meeting different
Okay.
places
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, like
Things that we would
QPDOL
need.
or something, or, okay. That's even better.
SMH
So
goes
like,
stamp to
so
put
like,
in the book.
so
and
like if
cash
they,
it.
like the mapping,
Yeah,
computer mapping,
okay,
stuff like that.
for them to do, okay.
So, but it's, a lot of them are very, like, years ago, when I
Oh, they're
had,
fascinating. They actually are
Okay.
extremely interesting.
years ago, I used to go to a bunch of them, and now I just, I'm
Do we need to
like,
vote?
I vote
So we
Jean
do have to
Vincent.
vote.
Make a motion that
They're all-
Jean is our representative to
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're gonna
So
look
Good thing,
it's
'cause I went
you.
to the meeting
the.
already. So, somebody from their, I don't remember his name. The guy who did the, it's okay, it'll come to me.
Jane, is it Jane? I'm,
No, it's not, I'm drawing a blank.
We
It's
don't
an unusual
have to
thing.
decide anything.
No, I
just
just
send it.
No. He's gonna be calling you anyhow,
okay.
because we have the thing with the complete streets and all that.
Yeah, the guy that was here for
Oh.
the master plan and everything, and he's
Yes.
part of CMRPC.
Yes,
Yeah,
can't remember his name.
He has an unusual,
does.
his last name, or something's unusual about his
Okay.
name.
He may be calling you to set up for another meeting and everything, and
Is it
to.
Chip?
To move on with the
To move
complete
on.
streets.
Is it Chip?
No.
Sorry.
We, you know, with the sidewalk stuff, we need to get that going, so we need them to kind of hook us up with an engineer to go out there. And if a couple of us want to go and walk these sidewalks, we need to kind of get, I kind of extended the invitation to one of, board of select members too, because this is one of those happy things that they want to be involved in.
It's been a while since we looked at that plan. Should we look at it
Right.
again,
We
maybe,
should.
maybe next week, pull it out for 5 minutes?
Can we
put it
bring
on the
out those
agenda?
plans?
Sure.
To walk, I mean, the big thing is to connect all of our broken sidewalks. I had the opportunity during Old Home Day to walk up from Maynard Field, and it's actually, you have to get in the street and you
You do.
walk, and
Yeah,
so
that-
we really need to connect the sidewalks
Yeah.
down to Maynard and then up. And then I think back in the day with the old master plan, we thought about connecting it all the way up through,
The village.
with it, up through the village district, down by the St. Joe's Church into
Yes.
Trolley Crossing, and then around down Dresser
Mhm.
Hill, which is some of it sidewalks already, and then make it all, ADA compliant. So,
They wanted
we
to make it
should-
walkable, that's correct.
and we should, and with bike lanes also.
Yes.
So, at some point, maybe we can
Figure out
have
where to
take
start
a
and what
walk.
to do.
Well, so
Yeah.
I agree with Maynard Field, out and like kind of looking around, see if they start with Maynard Field and come all the way up past the, Charlton Housing, like
Mhm.
turning down the Masonic,
Yeah.
Yep.
because that
But it
has some, but
connects
some of it
the-
needs repair, and then heading
then
down
to
the
add it
other
in.
way,
I mean, the
yeah.
whole thought was to connect the circle, so someone could actually go and
Yes.
walk the circle.
Yeah.
The whole village district was down by St. Joe's, down Trolley Crossing, and then down do the circle, that was like the initial,
Yeah, cause they're actually working on the trolley crossing point
which is
as we
excellent.
speak, so.
Is there?
And the,
Yeah.
and then the other piece was a lot of kids, and if you're driving this town during the day, a lot of kids walk from the Heritage and so the Heritage and especially from the middle school to the library.
That's correct.
And they're walking that road, and that's.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
really?
pretty hairy,
Yeah,
I
and
saw
that's a
that,
bad-
yeah.
I was gonna say, at least to Bay Path, I would have.
That's just a
Yeah,
bad
so,
idea.
so to have the sidewalks run whatever side of the road, down to the schools and back.
All the way
make-
down to the schools, that's a.
They ride their bikes
Yeah,
too.
but if it's grant money,
Sure,
and it
sure.
makes sense and it keeps our kids safe, and it lets our kids get to the library safely, because that's where
Of
they
course.
all tend to be coming to walk.
And then Jane
Well,
can
it's a
walk
big
to work.
selling point too, if you try to put in bike lanes where they do.
You'll be like so in
Yes,
shape.
because a lot of the kids right now are biking, and what they do is they bike up
She could bike
to the
to
back of the
work.
library,
She could
they all
bike.
hang out,
Yeah,
and
and
then
Jog.
they will come down by the center, grab a
about
pizza, and come back
connecting.
around.
And
Get 'em.
Big selling point if
Whatever.
you do
That's
or
awesome.
whatever.
Yes,
a
yes.
So
dedicated
that
bike
is
lane
gonna
or
be a great
whatever.
discussion, I think, that'll, and the community might even wanna come in, I
Yes.
think, that you just talk about, it just connects the down, to the schools, and even for like Old Home Day and stuff,
Yes.
having it all connected and.
So we'll definitely put that on an agenda.
So we need to, we
Yep.
should talk about that,
Get
and we
that
should
bullet
definitely
Plan again, look at it.
Yep.
look at that again.
Do we need to extend this to 9/15/20, or does it just get done?
Oh, this is the,
Beautiful.
Annual subdivision
So
extension.
the,
I have that right here, this, the question is.
Yep, that's it.
Dear planning board members, I respectfully request an annual extension for the Jennings Road Extension Definitive Subdivision Plan approval. Kindly Russell G. Jennings, sorry. They want to extend it to September 15th, 2020.
I accept and make a motion to accept that proposition.
I'll second, but let's talk, I'm just kinda curious, these just routinely get extended
Sometimes for
for
years and
just
years.
for years and years and years and
years.
years, and there's no reason not to extend it,
None.
and usually is not.
They're just extending their right to
Just
be
curious.
able to do it.
Unless you wanna be mean.
No, I'm just, yeah, no, I have no intention of being mean, it's just,
I don't know
I'm curious
the
at
legality
what.
piece, I don't know, I honestly have
So-
19
Is there a
years
You
on
know,
land.
the
Yeah,
bylaws
that's what I'm
say-
saying, is there a timeline to finish these subdivisions so that they actually get completed?
Well, they
And-
phase them.
Yeah,
Yes, that's
yeah,
correct.
yeah,
There's
sure.
a purpose
That's
for it.
correct.
Okay.
So,
And with the economy, and they
Yeah.
judge
That's
it where they
correct.
want.
Just curious.
I've never not approved one,
No.
and that's a great question, I don't know, I've never not
That's,
approved one.
that's why I'm
Even
just
as
curious.
my years on ADC, they always would just keep, and even though they didn't vote anything, they would discuss that, and there was always just keep blanket approving.
Just wonder if there was ever a reason why the board hadn't extended it.
I mean, the
It's
only
just
reason
kinda
why
curious.
we didn't want like this.
Or if you're a meanie, you know.
Yeah, if you're gonna be-
we
yeah,
have-
He's
I mean,
gonna
I
be-
can't, I was curious,
Bring
I'm
'em in.
curious, so I guess we need to
You want to
vote.
explain to us in detail why.
So we had a motion, we had a second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You're right, question things, we still
I
have
just,
to
I'm
do
just
things
curious, yeah.
for, just to do it, and I don't know why, there must be a legal reason behind it. I
Well, the
mean,
bylaws say 2 years,
That's what, so,
so
To start.
they're
start.
following.
and then extended every year after
Right,
that,
Right.
for the next 30.
100.
No.
We have the
You were two, the
Six-
first one,
D1A
The
release.
town doesn't plow
this
it
is
till they're done,
actually,
right, so
the
that's.
property abutting Treehouse, the attorney for Treehouse had, done it incorrectly, so he had to resubmit, and then.
Is that Mark?
No, they
Okay.
decided not to pay Mark and
Okay.
let the engineer do it, and the engineer messed it up.
Okay.
Let me
Oh,
clarify,
that-
protect
okay.
my man, Mark Bobrowski.
But, long story short, they're asking, it's back before the planning board for, take action on whether they want to make a recommendation to the board of selectmen to.
Yeah.
So we
I'm
have-
not
No,
following, I'm sorry.
So we have to vote whether we think the Board of Selectmen should purchase this property instead of, because we are the first right of refusal.
Oh, absolutely not.
So we can recommend to the Board of Selectmen, and then in joint, we can
Yeah.
I'd
purchase.
like to make a motion that we, pass on our first right of refusal on the
Second.
129 South Sturbridge Road.
Can we make a motion with both of them together?
Well,
No, you probably
No.
not.
Alright.
Where
No,
was
two
the other
different
one?
addresses.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Where was the other one?
What, the three
One-
seconds?
311 Stafford
Lot 2
Street.
Stafford Street, it's actually
What's it here?
the,
Oh,
Curious.
that's right, two different.
Is that,
It's just
further
past
up
Nugget.
Stafford Street.
Just past
It's
Nugget
lot
on the
2,
left.
but
Okay.
it's actually
Okay, I
311
got you.
Stafford Street.
Alright, we need to vote on this one.
Yeah, let's vote on the first one,
Yep.
129 Sturbridge
We have
Road.
a motion and a second.
Yeah.
Aye.
I,
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, all in favor?
Okay.
Yep.
I make,
late.
I make a motion that we waive our right of first refusal on 311 Stafford Street. Basically,
Second.
we don't wanna buy it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Perfect.
Went to, what else?
You-
I officially recuse.
Yeah, I'll explain this one a little bit, 'cause it was a mess, we finally got it straightened out. It's, Roy Gunther on, Butcher Road, I think
Yep.
the changes that have happened up there have been, this board is familiar with. He's now selling the lots at the end of Butcher Road, 3 lots, selling to the same person. There was some conditions that had to be met. Those conditions have been corrected now, with the exception of, the town will be repaving the road, and also a turnaround that has been, installed at the end of Butcher Road for fire equipment access. It was approved by both the fire department, the highway department, and Mike Andrade.
Approved in, all in writing?
What's that?
They all approved in writing?
Yes,
Okay.
and then, so, and Mr. Gunter was supposed to plant trees on multiple properties up there. Only one of the property owners wants the trees planted, which we have that verification from, that the other 3 do not want the trees planted.
the other ones took the money.
He did remove all the stumps and had the telephone poles removed or adjusted as they were supposed to, and he also had to do some drainage at the beginning of the road, as Alicia almost.
So the drainage has been
A little
fixed?
sloppy.
Those
Huh?
lots-
Yeah, on the wrong side. They cleared 3 of my trees.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, now you have more sun for gardens.
They cleared 3 of your trees?
On the wrong side, they,
Should we get your trees back?
I would, I would love my
Don't
trees
make me
back.
talk to
They
him.
may be in somebody's house by now.
Because now I can see my neighbor's garage, and that was the private area. But, you know, for what it's worth,
Could be.
accidents happen sometimes when you give wrong addresses.
You could call Uncle.
But,
Do you want them, as in a butter?
Do you want Uncle to plant trees for you?
Do you need a couple of arborvitae's, nice ones?
You know what, for what it's worth, in all fairness, the same reason the Boucher Drive people probably don't want their trees replanted, we lose power a lot because the trees fall over the line, so I'm gonna go with the idea, as someone who likes to think the best of people, they did us a favor, maybe we'll lose power less this year, and run with it. Yes.
Not like a beautiful pear tree or something like that?
But the road is fixed now? 'Cause
Yes.
I thought he was
the
supposed to.
final
He
paving
was.
of the road hasn't been done.
'Cause he
The
was
only,
supposed to do that.
thing.
He was
that-
supposed to do it. And why is the town doing it when he was supposed to?
No, that's-
No,
that
as
was
part
the
of the agreement
agreement.
with the planning board,
Yes.
they are paying the town
Okay.
$59,000
Okay.
for the work to be done.
So that it
The
gets
one
done.
request I will say
Quality too.
is Mr. Gunter asked for, and Jerry Foskett agreed, is that they would pave it within a year. He wanted it done in 90 days. I was like, no, not the beginning of spring. I said, we'll say within, Jerry said it's probably gonna be done in the spring, but he didn't wanna commit to any
Right,
short
yeah.
timeline,
Tell
so
the
I said,
lawyer.
how about a year? So Mr. Gunter agreed that if the town agreed
Yeah,
to take the money, the $59,000, and pave the road within a year, then everybody would be fine, so that's the only condition that,
It looks decent up there, and those lots are gorgeous.
Oh, they're great
Those three
lots. They're
are just
absolute fabulous
The
lots.
views are gorgeous up there.
the sooner they can be sold, the better, 'cause
Yeah, I know the buyer is.
He's very anxious.
yeah, he was here tonight, actually, at the beginning meeting,
He didn't wait?
Oh, is that who's?
Yes, that was,
Oh, okay.
that he's purchasing all 3
For
properties.
him and his son.
Yeah, his
Yeah.
adult son,
Yeah.
yes.
Recognized.
Okay.
They hunt a lot, they
Yeah.
they've allowed us to
They're
walk.
big nice.
They're wonderful people.
Big, beautiful lots and with beautiful views. It's
Good.
good luck. That's gonna be a
He's actually one that has made all this happen.
Yeah.
Yes,
I know.
yes.
No, I-
He was-
He's been fabulous.
Yes.
Okay.
So are we happy with everything? There's nothing else open because our experience
Once we close
with,
this, it's
our
closed.
Yeah.
experience with,
We lost any leverage.
Gunter LLC is that things need to be in writing and,
Well,
very, very, very well, clear, and done. So if
The-
we're all happy, then,
the one thing that I was concerned about, but how it is working, the planning board agreed upon the sale of the first lot that the $59,000 would be paid. Mr. Walker is actually paying the $59,000 to the town and not waiting to go through Mr. Gunter and then back to the town.
Of course it
It's
is.
the sale minus the $59,000 that Mr. Gunter is going to hand to the town himself. I mean,
Mr.
Mr.
Walker's very
Walker's
smart.
going to hand it
Okay.
to the town. So that we will get, that was my big concern, is the town's going to get paid.
Okay.
right,
So,
we have that in writing?
yeah, Mr. Walker's agreed to that writing.
Okay.
Perfect.
Sounds good.
And
So-
highway's fine, Jerry's fine with that,
So
Mr. Highway
mhm,
Superintendent?
Jerry's
Yes.
Okay, great.
fine, fire's fine, anybody else involved, highway,
Yes, everybody's
Fire.
reviewed it, they now, like, for the
Police.
turnaround, it's gotta be paved, but,
okay.
Great.
and that's
So
things over here.
The drainage is good and okay. All
So-
right.
Drainage, I have
The
to say, they
neighbors-
put in
Jerry's
two
happy?
really nice
He said Jerry
drainage.
was happy.
Catch basins.
Have we
Thank you.
gotten letters from the neighbors and are they happy with the road and the lack of trees or the new trees or, cause
Yeah.
we had a
people
mob in
wanna-
here one night.
What?
They did go and they stumped, they grounded the
Like,
stumps.
Yeah, they did.
grind the
They
stumps,
did,
okay.
and
Yeah.
It
they
looks,
made it, yeah.
it does look nice
Okay.
right
And
there.
Jerry,
It's-
Jerry
yes.
Foster went up there
Yes,
to
he
make
did.
sure they did everything in accordance with what they were supposed to do as far as the stump
Yes.
removaling and
Okay.
all that.
Telephone
So-
poles have been moved and
Yeah.
relocated and, okay.
And they did the repairs on the side of the road and everything after the
Okay.
stump removal.
Mhm, mhm.
Been a long,
Okay.
painful process.
It's been a while.
It's been a very long time.
So do we have a motion to release the covenant on Boucher Drive?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Recuse.
Aye. Not quite 10 o'clock. RFP discussion for zoning bylaw, as far as our new zoning bylaw consultant. So,
Loved it.
I hope that everybody read this in
Yes.
very
Yeah.
much
Yeah.
detail.
Very much.
Good.
And it looks great.
I think it was fabulous.
Should we run it through council?
So that's the only thing I was gonna recommend. If we're happy with it, we were gonna do council first, and I thought, let's make sure we're happy first, cause this is very, very standard. And I only asked that, so I think, do I need to sign this?
I would make a motion to accept it pending council's approval.
Yeah, the only item in there, I'm not even, is you'll have to, I mean, and we don't have to necessarily do that now, but we have to set a timeline. Do you want to,
Right.
make it 30 days, 60 days?
I think we should ask council. They have to review it anyway. What is their recommendation?
How
Where
long?
they
to-
usually
Yeah,
say.
exactly.
Okay,
Do we know where this is gonna go out to?
it's, gonna go to
So the proposal.
CM,
CMRPC.
yeah, and,
30 days.
Yeah.
I know a couple of firms. I would also, recommend posting this on the Mass Planning Association
Yes.
You betcha.
Association website.
Yes.
Because a lot of people, that's where they look for like consultant work and everything like that.
Mhm.
So that would be another recommendation to do that. And then I know some firms myself that actually have worked in this field.
Where's the
but-
standard place to post these? Is it is it, there's a standard, I know there's a standard place that
It's not stateofmass.gov, is it? It
No.
will- No, I don't think.
I'm aware of.
Well, I say CMRPC was probably gonna be where the persons
you-
come from, cause they're local to this
Right,
area.
will you just call CMRPC and ask him if there's any particular other site? I think there's another location that the RFPs for government agencies automatically go to. I just can't remember who it is. Can you just reach, either
Yep.
Jane or you to see where they'll know what to refer us to. And do we wanna do 30 days to hurry this up? So 30 days
Yes.
after release, do we just wanna add 30 days in there? Unless,
Yeah, I mean,
unless
the
Cosgrove
30
wants.
days I think is kind of okay, because, I mean, it's just saying yes or no, you know,
Right.
whether, and they're already gonna have a resume or what, a portfolio,
Mhm.
whatever they have put together.
And this is
you
so
know.
very standard for the
Yeah.
map and the bylaws.
Yes.
This is pretty much what every single community site, that's what I did. I took this and I went to look at all the other ones I could find, and this is pretty
Yeah,
standard.
standard procedure.
So,
yeah.
we'll say 30, and if we don't get any, we can always extend it if necessary, but let's get this moving because we're already
Yes.
in, you know, it's probably gonna take another, you know, maybe 10 days for us to get this back, and by the time it's actually, so it'll be 30 days from when it's actually posted.
Right.
Let's just get this moving along, so, we can just get this in our schedule to start working with, and
Right.
it's up sooner than later kinda
Yeah.
thing. And so can we vote for Randy to sign it, or do we wanna vote for me to sign it? So say if Cosgrove has a couple of little minor changes, do we want the board to
Doesn't get
approve?
signed by us. It should.
But it says,
At the end of
center of individuals submitting bid or proposal,
Good.
Submitted.
it's not for
so
this.
to
Yeah,
Randy.
there,
Yeah.
yeah.
Alright, so then we'll,
I say that we
Oh,
post
okay.
this to, you know, pending council review.
no
Right.
signatures necessary, that's right, okay, perfect.
This is for them to send back to us.
So we vote to submit to council, and if it's all good, then we just go ahead and post this,
Correct.
figure it out
Yes.
where we need to post it.
Correct.
Yep.
And I have to say that I think that, Scanlon was interested, and Bobrowski was interested, and probably.
CMRPC may be
CMRPC was
Yeah.
interested,
Yeah, they were
and,
They were
and,
asking.
Dave McKay, who also has been doing work for the town, is probably interested, his firm does it too, so let's send it out to the people we know, cause we know that
Exactly.
already, and then always also post it, just so they kinda get
Of course.
a heads up.
Yep.
Right.
To, if they're interested, to go ahead and apply to.
Yes.
Okay, so we have a motion to submit to council and then release.
Mm-hmm.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Perfect.
Before we adjourn, you might, I realize it's a moot point at this point, but you might wanna, call for open forum. Since it's on the
Oh,
agenda and we didn't.
Is there anybody here for open?
Camera
Oh,
pans to the empty
yeah.
seats. Hands back.
Nice.
Did you, or is that, we were gonna go back?
Maybe
and-
they were in the
you
hallway
wanted to
waiting, we don't
discuss,
know.
Yes.
The
We
camera
need
man's
both.
awake.
That's right.
LNG. An update on,
Yeah. Okay, so we open an update on LNG. So, and Jean and I go to every single meeting.
Can we post for the planning board for
Yeah.
those meetings from now on?
Yes, so can we get into the habit of posting, because we also have John and we also have Dawn that pretty much show up to everything, and sometimes we,
No, not everything, but
you
when
know,
they show up, it'd
typically,
be nice to be able to
you know, we
stay.
just wanna make sure we
Yeah.
automatically,
Right.
can we just automatically?
Yeah.
Have somebody go, 1, 2,
Sit on
you're out.
opposite sides of
So
the
Jane will automatically post when we have, because
Okay,
the
thank you.
24th there's a meeting, we just automatically post for us too.
yeah, this, I will, next,
This is the 24th.
Tuesday, the 24th at 7 PM here,
Okay.
so,
Oh,
So-
here?
but I'll post.
Are they
it.
scheduled ahead? Cause I mean,
Yeah.
we could post for all of them now.
They're scheduled,
Just
they're
post.
scheduled as needed, but whenever one is scheduled,
Okay.
Jane will automatically
Okay.
And I
post
will
us.
say the LNG committee is also being invited into executive session with the Board of Selectmen at the same time. I have to notice you being in this room and in that room.
So
That room is, I've discussed it with Mary, that they're gonna put the, executive session later of the Board of
Okay,
Selectmen
so we can
meeting. So you
go-
get time to have the meeting here and then go down the hall.
So we've been meeting
Oh,
and
that was
we hired, I mean, you guys probably seen the kind of, I try to update our planning board website, with the facts, and we did hire a consultant, and we hired, Casey Law. The FinCom and the Board of Selectmen voted to fully fund at the, they already had additional 200, so $300,000 in total. You know, there was a little, we call it a bump in the road with the attorneys, but it is what it is. we'll work past that and deal with, what we have. I can tell you that, Amy from KP Law, she is doing a great job. I'm happy to, I get, because we are an intervenor board, I get constant updates. If Frank knows something, we know something, and the Board of Health knows it because, of the situation because we're intervenors, and things are being done well and right, and, I can say that the one little issue was we were told the LNG committee this was our task. It was really modified of what our goal was, kind of in the process, and then it was modified again. And being an intervenor board, because we're an intervenor board, I think it's my job to protect our rights as an intervenor board, because of what an important role that it is. So the reason why the meeting on the 24th was happening, and the original thought was the 3 intervenor boards, we all have obviously members on the LNG committee, we're gonna meet and say what exactly are our roles as intervenor boards, just to make sure that everybody is on the same page of what we're doing there, and we're on the same page together, and there is no divide when
We don't want this to turn into VGG.
exactly. So we to prevent that in discussions.
Perfect.
That's what we're doing. So we just want to make sure we're all together and unified, and that's.
Is it? Do you believe it is? All the boards are unified now?
I think there's individual.
Most of the way.
Yeah, I think there's individual personalities that feel different ways, but at the end of the day, we have a very, very strong LNG committee, and people are bringing their A games.
Good.
I know we do a lot of executive sessions, and people are doing major research and big
Wonderful.
picture like me, but a whole room full of me's who have done
Not on that point, no.
no. They're bringing their A games. They're
Yeah,
bringing
that's
their
great.
questions. They're bringing their background and knowledge to this
That's what it
committee.
should be.
How
And
many
it's-
people are on the board?
And it's fabulous. Every board is represented there.
I think there's ultimately 7 members
Seven
of the
voting
committee,
members.
and then there's,
Then
Some
there's
extras.
some porters that
Yeah.
come in.
Often.
So like always, me and Jean go to everything. So in case one of us has to step in, the other one
Yeah.
will vote. So technically, she is on the board. If
and
if
John's
she
actually
takes
on it
my
a few
vote.
times,
So,
yeah.
but again, it's a
I have to remember the
fabulous
names, planning
board, knowing
Yeah,
that
yeah.
there's only the intervenor boards can file anything. So at any point, if any of the intervenor boards feel that they need to step back and take their role as an individual intervenor board, that can
They can do that.
happen. Nobody wants that to happen. That shouldn't happen, but that's the reality of it. There's that if you're not an intervenor, you can be dismissed at any time. Again, not where I'm saying that it's going, but knowing that we have a huge role in this,
Good not
and
to miss.
a lot of credit to Randy, because he's pretty much staffing that committee, and we're really needy. And so, we're lucky to have, Randy put so much effort and handle a lot of this stuff, so. Perfect.
I mentioned to Randy that somebody called Noreen from Markey's office that has an expert in LNG and pipeline. I'll get you the number. She-
yeah.
And he's very interested in what's taking place here, so.
Oh, fabulous.
Wonderful.
So
Great.
maybe he can give you a hand to do something, but he's surprisingly up to date on what's going on.
From whose office? Who is?
Markey's office.
Markey's
Good
office.
Markey?
Yeah.
The attorney, Amy from KP Law, had submitted the information request to the site board by Monday, the 16th, and we went over, and she actually, I think she did a very good job on asking the right questions.
Good.
She was
And we
thorough
were-
and, it seemed, I looked at the different questions being asked. They have a lot of questions to answer.
There's a lot
I don't think they
going
have
on.
all the answers to the questions.
Yeah,
So-
there's a lot going on, it's very, very
Yeah.
there's so much, and so much of it is just over our heads. I think so much is over a regular engineer's
Yeah,
head.
they,
in the
they
library.
have a specialized
It's all in
engineer.
the library.
Yeah.
What was that?
It's all in the library, if you want anything,
That's
you wanna
not
know
your
anything, just go to
question.
the library, it's
Go
all
to
in
the
the
library.
I
Oh,
actually-
it's been there for years.
I went to
Oh,
the, I went to the library, they hadn't posted anything in the library since it was early this year. So they kept seeing all this information, I went over
Just
there,
go
it's
to the
like, no,
library.
it's not. Yeah.
They've
But,
asked, we were asking for, we haven't really seen the site plan, oh, it's in the library. But
So
yeah.
it's wasn't it on the back of like a newspaper or a paper napkin
Yeah.
or
It
something?
was like drawn out,
Yeah.
with crayons.
Taped to the
It was
wall.
colored, it was colored.
But they, that's, there's the engineer that's working with Amy seems to be.
On
yeah,
top of
he
it,
had-
right.
He knows the right
It's a-
information.
it's a
It's a big
complicated-
firm, it's a big
Yeah,
firm,
they're
they're a
big.
nationwide firm, they're one of the
And,
biggest in
They
the
were
country.
able to
They
piggyback
do
on
a lot of
that
government,
work.
they
We
do a
did,
lot
you
of
know,
government
when we
contracts.
changed attorneys, they were able to, we didn't just waste all that, they were able to take all of the work and all the
Yeah,
questions
Yeah,
and be able to
fortunately Ray was
utilize it.
kind enough to
Kinda
forward him
shared
the
it and then,
information,
Did,
yeah.
he get paid yet?
He's getting paid, yep, we got a big old bill, so.
Yeah, I knew that, I didn't know if it was.
I don't know if he got paid yet, but I mean,
But
it's
it
in
was
the, it's in the,
Slowly
it's
being
they,
taken out of the funds.
Okay.
anything else,
As
it's,
long as we don't run out of money.
it's town meeting.
Yeah, we'll find out.
So is it the ultimate goal is to get them back into South, on Route 20? Is that?
I can tell you that in open session,
Yeah.
the thought process was, I think around the whole entire room, and again, in open session, everybody feels uncomfortable with 169 and everybody feels much more comfortable on 20. And I think some of the discussion was, you can freaking double it on 20 if you want. Because this, if anything happens, it's not gonna hurt anybody to say, all the safety hazards pretty much go away. And on 169,
I've
you
heard
know,
that.
there's,
That's
if
it.
anything happens,
The
you
power
know,
plant's
the
right
bus
there.
stop's there, you know what I'm saying, like there's no, you know, but as it's been very well advertised, it's years of prep with lots of lawyers, with us coming in last minute to try to move anything, you know, it's kind of up in the air, but we're doing the best possible thing we can do in this moment of time. There's no doubt in my mind that the town currently is doing everything they can do with full support from the selectmen and everybody else, again, bumps in the road, blah, blah, blah. We're all working together to get the absolute, at this very moment in time, in the future, I don't know, I can say with pure fact, knowing, being part of this, deep into this process, we're doing everything we can to protect our town and make sure that the town is as safe as possible.
Nice.
And
So remember, they came to the town originally and says, hey, would you mind if we did this in your town? And the town hall said, yeah, come on in.
Yeah.
So once again, they were invited in.
Yep, and that's what they're saying to us.
But they also
Well,
came in on Route 20.
True.
And they changed the
Sure.
very, very last minute, which
At
is
the
very
very
rare
last
in this kind
minute
of
change.
project. So things are, but again, we're dealing with that and doing the best we can, and there's all these facts out there, we're taking the current situation and we're all working together to get the best outcome possible. right
That's
now.
one of the things too, is that they need Charlton as much as Charlton would like to have them. There's only so many places they can access that
I'm not
Tennessee
sure,
line.
not sure the people of Charlton really want to have them.
No, but I mean, they
Sure.
have to try to work with Charlton because the location of that gas line,
Yep.
basically dictates where they can
Sure,
put a plant.
sure. There's no other
So they gotta be
highways that are on the
somewhere
gas
where
line
they can
nearby.
get to the plant,
Fair
so.
enough.
I wonder if there's something in, now, does it go under 149, doesn't it? The pipeline doesn't go through there?
We actually have a pipeline map in that bookshelf over there.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
In the library?
You're welcome. No,
Yeah.
we
have
I
a
was-
current
I was
one.
going through this
It
on bookshelves,
crosses-
and we
it
have
crosses
lots of cool
31.
stuff in there.
In Spencer, I'm just not sure where it crosses.
Oh, it does.
I'm not sure where it crosses.
Out
Route
into
9.
this open land up there, enough open land to do anything.
What?
I want to say it kind of follows the train
Tennessee
tracks
line?
going out there, yeah.
I don't,
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
familiar,
But we do really
No,
have the
I-
old plans. We have the old, sorry, let's,
Yeah, sorry.
zoning, do we have other business, we just want to have the update, any other thing that we need to talk about that
I think we covered everything, that was the last thing was the LNG, but we covered that, so. Yeah, back to the executive session.
Okay. So,
Yeah,
are we going to,
Yeah.
we're going to adjourn this meeting and go into executive session, for the same reason we went into executive session the first time, and I guess we can read that again. And we are only going to open up we're only gonna open up the meeting again to be able to adjourn it.
Okay,
Right,
so
is that,
Right.
So should we go?
You're welcome to
Yes,
stay or
okay.
go, but we have.
you can,
Oh, no, you can't.
you can take it, we're done, cause you can't
Mhm.
record executive session anyway, so,
Yeah.
so you can shut down.
Okay.